morning, sirs.
Good morning. Please sit down. What's your name, please?
Kartikeya Jaiswal.
You can take off your mask, Mr. Kartikeya. So, kindly tell us something about yourself.
Thank you for the opportunity, sir. I am Kartikeya Jaiswal and I hail from Khandwa district of Madhya Pradesh. I have done my schooling from St. Pius Higher Secondary School and Sri Satyasai Higher Secondary School. Thereafter, I did my graduation in BSc Honours Mathematics from St. Stephen's College in Delhi University. And here I nurtured my hobby of watching films and participated in different social service activities.
Which social? Sit, relax, let your back touch the back of the chair, please. Aram se baithiye, हाँ.
Okay, thank you, sir.
So, which social activities?
I participated in a project named Vidya Jyoti, in which volunteers were assigned children in an under-resourced community in Guru Tegh Bahadur Nagar, and we used to take weekly visits to that place. And
What do you know about Guru Tegh Bahadur?
Guru Tegh Bahadur was the 9th Guru of Sikhs, and his son was named Guru Gobind Singh, who was the last and 10th Guru of Sikhs. And recently we celebrated the 400th birth anniversary of Sri Guru Tegh Bahadur.
Do you know anything about his life sketch?
He extended the interests of Sikhs, and in protecting the interests of Sikhs and other Hindus, his execution was ordered by the Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb.
Where did the execution take place?
At the place where today we have Gurudwara Seesganj Sahib in Chandni Chowk.
In Chandni Chowk, in Delhi.
Yes, sir.
What is the latest news from Ukraine?
The latest news is that Russia has bombed a shelter which was inside a school in the eastern Ukraine, Luhansk region.
Anything else from Ukraine? Latest news?
The First Lady of US, Miss Jill Biden, also met the First Lady of US, Miss Jill Biden, met the First Lady of
So
Ukraine.
you know the news from Haryana? Anything about Rakhi Gadi?
Yes, sir.
What is the news?
The human skeletons which have been found to be of women, have been sent for forensic analysis and anthropometric studies, which are believed to be 5,000 years old.
Anything else found?
Some other artifacts and other jewelry items have also been found around their bodies.
So you are from Khandwa.
Yes, sir.
Khandwa is what kind of, what is the total population of Khandwa?
It is about 13 lakhs, sir.
And there must be some poor people, some rich people. What is the
Yes.
main profession of people there?
Mainly people are engaged in agriculture. However, 35% of the population of Khandwa district is tribal. So they are engaged in forest related activities.
So tell me that if you are the district magistrate of Khandwa, then what step will you take to reduce the income disparity in the so-called rich and poor?
First, the need is to enhance the basic human development indicators in Khandwa district, that is, initiatives for education, health, nutrition, and sanitation. Secondly comes skill enhancement, because the tribal population.
These things will take time. Immediately, can you think of something? These are all standard replies you find in the textbooks, what you're telling me.
Yes, sir.
But as a thinking district magistrate, what is it that you can do?
In the immediate circumstances, I think effective implementation and collection of revenues will be an effective step to bolster the funds for the district magistracy and extend initiatives for the welfare of the vulnerable people.
What kind of a welfare you will do which will reduce income disparity?
For reducing income disparity, in my humble opinion, the first step should be skill enhancement, because a lot of people do not have the requisite skills of 21st century and therefore they lag behind in
So
income
what
opportunities.
skills of 21st century you would want to teach them?
Financial literacy, digital literacy, and making handicrafts and other minor forest produce processing in Khandwa district, which would help tribals and other rural poor people.
Okay, my last question is, where are the next Asian Games going to be held and when?
the next Asian Games were going to be held in Hangzhou in China, and they have recently been postponed without any definite period for the next holding of the games.
What were the original dates?
Original dates, I'm not sure about, sir.
Thank
I'm sorry.
Mr. Kartikeya,
Yes, sir.
why do you want to join the civil service?
There are three major reasons, sir. One, while participating in different social service activities in my school and college, I found that public service is something which gives me the maximum amount of self-satisfaction. And therefore, when civil services give me the opportunity to serve a large number of people to the best of my ability, this is something which I wish to do. Secondly, the trust which my teachers showed in me in my 12th standard while appointing me the school captain, and also my subsequent training in a subject of mathematics, which teaches me the rigors of critical analysis and objectivity, give me confidence that I can hold positions in civil service which involve leadership and objective decision making. And thirdly, I feel that in my college life, the diversity of activities I participated in was indeed the essence of it. So the similar diversity is provided by civil services. Therefore, I wish to join it. These are the major reasons.
Very good.
Thank you,
Let
sir.
us test your knowledge of these three causes that you said. Is there an area of interest where you would like to work?
In my,
Any sector, education, health,
I
where you
would
can
say
apply all these that you said.
education is one sector, because I have also been a part of teaching project, so I could use my abilities in education sector.
How would you use your abilities in improving the quality of education at the primary, secondary, and the senior level?
At the primary level, when students are just entering the sphere of studies, I feel that it is important that pedagogy be involving of innovative techniques to introduce students to new concepts.
We're talking of class 1 and 2
Indeed,
at
sir.
primary level. Children who are 5-6 years old.
So in that case, I feel that interactive learning or group learning activities or some kind of digital smart classes could help students to gauge what is around them and not be just reduced to the textbooks. Secondly, at the secondary level, the need is to bolster the gross enrollment ratio and also further the horizons of children's perspectives, because it is important to ask questions to children that how can they look at a certain object from different perspectives, and then provide them inputs in how to break down bigger problems into smaller ones. And at the higher education level, I feel that
We'll come to the higher education level later.
Okay.
But at the primary level, you've been teaching children,
Yes, sir.
underprivileged children. And your
Yes.
mother, which classes does she teach?
my mother,
Yeah,
she was a school teacher and she taught pre-primary students.
pre-primary.
Indeed.
So what are the deficiencies that you can tell us these people have, these sort of children have? What are the learning deficiencies?
One, they are just reduced to the syllabus and textbook curriculum. The need is to enhance their
That
perspective.
is not a deficiency. What is the deficiency? Fundamental deficiencies.
Deficiency in understanding. They do not understand what they read and learn.
Very good. What else?
Deficiency in recalling the important facts and important information that they have in their mind, that they have learned so well, but they are not able to reproduce it, they are not able to present it well. That is also one fundamental
That's a
deficiency.
deficiency in understanding. It's the same point you're making. Okay, higher education. We're talking now about university education,
Yes.
IITs, IIMs. Where do you think there is scope for improvement?
I think
Improvement in the quality of education.
multidisciplinarity and interdisciplinarity are two areas which the National Education Policy 2020 has also envisaged, and I think enhancing those frontiers, especially through internationalization of higher education, is one step where the higher education can be improved, and the collaboration between Indian institutes within themselves and with international institutes can be furthered.
So you're talking about curriculum basically.
Indeed, apart from that, there can also be other initiatives.
Yeah. What else? That by itself will not prepare India for the fourth industrial revolution.
Indeed, sir. I think industry academia linkages are also required
But isn't that already happening?
at a very low level in
How do
India.
you know?
Sir. I'm sorry, sir.
How do you know it's happening at a low level and not at a high level?
Because the different newspaper reports which I read, the different debates which I watch on news channels, I understand that Indian institutes wish to go out and collaborate with different institutes within
Okay,
India.
what else?
Improving infrastructure for research
Yes, very
in
good,
India.
very good. Okay, now let's talk to another subject now. This is my last question.
Okay, sir.
You watch films.
Indeed, sir.
What kind of films?
Primarily neo-noir genre, sir.
Can you give us some examples?
Yes. Taxi Driver in 1976. There was Chinatown in 1974. Recently, there have been movies such as Mulholland Drive, Memento, The Departed, The Gone Girl, etc.
You don't watch Hindi movies.
I watch, but relatively lesser. I had watched them in a much larger domain till my 12th standard.
Who starred in Taxi Driver?
There was Robert De Niro, sir.
What was his age at that time? Any guesses?
About
Any idea?
26 to 28
And who was
years.
the director?
Martin Scorsese, sir.
And these two have had a long collaboration. Can you name some movies where the two of them, he as director and De Niro as actor?
Recently, there was a film on Netflix named Knives Out. That was one collaboration. And Goodfellas was also a movie, but I'm not sure if these two were there.
What do you think of the OTT series that come on the OTT platform? A lot of violence, a lot of sex, a lot of abusive language. Is this a new genre that is coming up in the bedrooms of Indian families?
In my understanding, sir, OTT is democratizing new types of cinema among Indian audiences.
I'm talking
and
about violence and abusive languages and sexual.
Sir, according to me, what is portrayed in films is somewhere a part of our own society, and the
There
violence.
are children watching this content.
Sir,
You're not disturbed.
indeed they are disturbed,
Yeah.
and therefore the government has brought in the
So
guidelines.
finally, censorship or self-regulation?
Self-regulation, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Jaiswal,
Yes, sir.
you were earlier discussing some new developments, some of the latest developments relating to the Russia-Ukraine war.
Indeed, sir.
Now let's go back in time. What do you think were the main causes of this war?
One, the eastward expansion of NATO in eastern Ukraine, which was against the guarantees given by NATO itself to Russia. Deployment of military infrastructure in the eastern Europe region, which is threatening the security of Russia. And also, Russia has traditionally considered Ukraine as a part of the larger Soviet state, which was there before 1991. So, it does not want to have countries like Ukraine, Georgia go into the ambit of NATO.
All right, now as regards NATO, how many members are there in it? How many countries are members of NATO?
I'm not exactly sure of the numbers, sir. I'm sorry.
You're not sure or you're not aware?
I had read about it, but I do not remember it right now.
How many countries from outside Europe are members of it?
2 countries, sir. The United States of America and Canada.
And where are the NATO headquarters located?
Headquarters in I don't know.
All right, okay.
I'm sorry.
Now, you would be aware of the fact that India is pursuing a policy of balancing the two sides. You know, it is under pressure to condemn Russia, but at the same time it doesn't want to.
Indeed, sir.
Do you think this policy is going to be sustainable?
This policy, in my understanding, is going to be sustainable as long as extreme violations of human rights and international laws are not undertaken by Russia.
Are they not already taking place?
Indeed,
Bombing a building where there are children house, which is a civilian establishment. Would you consider it to be a violation of human rights or not?
Indeed, sir, it is a
So
violation.
should India review its policy? What is your view?
For India's interests, considering all the different sides which India has to take care of, balancing its relationships with both Russia and the West, I think India has taken a very balanced position which is in its national interests, because maintaining a friendly partner in Asia region is important for it,
Why?
because the aggression which is being undertaken by China is important for India to consider, because
Now tell me, Mr. Jaiswal, in case
yes, sir.
China were to attack India, what is the position that Russia will take? Will it be pro-China, pro-India, or what?
According to me, sir, it may not take a side in that case, because in the past what has happened is
They say that Russia treats India like a friend but China like a brother. Okay, let's shift attention to an organization in which Russia, China and India are all members.
yes, sir,
Which one would that be?
BRICS.
Alright, now BRICS is going to have a summit.
Yes, sir.
Can you tell me when, where?
It is going to have a summit in China, but I do not know when, sir. I'm
You don't
sorry.
know. On the other hand, India is a member of Quad, where it is alongside the United States.
Yes, sir.
When is that summit going to take place?
Towards the end of May, sir,
When exactly? The date fixed.
about 24th, 25th.
It is.
May.
It is the 24th of May.
Okay.
And the BRICS summit is at the end of June. So, how will India keep continuing this position that on the one hand it sits in Quad, where naturally the main focus of attention is Russia's invasion of Ukraine, and the other countries are pressurizing India to attack, and on the other hand it sits alongside Russia and China, where there's a position taken which is opposite. How long do you think it can continue doing that? Or if India were to quit one of these, which organization should that be? If India were to have to choose, Mr. Jaiswal, what would you recommend?
Based on the understanding Quad countries have had with India regarding their negotiations when dignitaries from Quad countries visited India, I think they are considerate of India's position and long-standing relationship with Russia, and they understand the position which India has taken.
But there's a lot of pressure.
Indeed, sir.
All right, now where is the Quad summit going to take place? Is it an in-person summit or a virtual summit?
It is going to be an in-person summit, sir.
Where?
As far as I remember, it's in Japan, sir.
It is in Japan. And who are the leaders apart from Prime Minister Modi who will be participating in that summit?
President Joe Biden from
Correct.
US, President Kishida from Japan,
Full name?
Fumio Kishida,
Correct.
and Prime Minister Scott Morrison from
Correct.
Australia.
Now, is the Malabar exercise in any way connected to Quad? The same countries take part.
The Malabar exercise is for enhancing interoperability between the navies of different countries in the Quad dialogue. So, recently, after the inclusion of Australia in that Malabar exercise, I think the mutual understanding regarding the weapons used and the positions taken by different navies in a potential war are being understood as the future strategy which Quad is going to take in the maritime sphere.
The last question. As you're aware, the chairman of the European Commission
Yes, sir.
recently visited India
Yes, sir.
to take part in the Raisina dialogue.
Indeed, sir.
Now, what is the difference between the European Commission and the European Union?
According to my limited knowledge of the subject, sir,
Sorry. Yeah.
according to my limited knowledge of the subject, European Union is a group of 20 odd countries which are in a collective alliance with each other in order to enhance interoperability.
But what about the European Commission?
European Commission, in my knowledge, is the implementing agency which takes the policies which have been framed by the European Union
And
countries.
what is that implementing agency? It's the executive wing.
Executive, indeed.
It's
sir.
thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
you know that admissions to universities now would be based on entrance tests,
Yes, sir.
right? What are your views on this? Is it a good measure or is it not so?
The measure for Central University entrance test is a welcome measure in order to reduce the cost and burden on students and their parents and enhance access to Central Universities which the tests are not being bogged down by the 12th board examinations. However, I feel that adequate weightage could have been given, for instance, a 50% weightage to 12th standard marks also.
But don't you think it is a little unfair to those who are coming from different boards? Because the entrance exam would be based on NCERT syllabus, which is followed by CBSE,
Indeed, sir.
not by so many other boards.
Yes, sir. According to the information which I have collected, a major part of the curriculum followed in different state boards is very similar to that given by NCERT, and the fundamentals of 11th and 12th standard which are going to be tested in NCERT based CUET may have some overlap with their state boards, but also indeed it is correct that
Now, for instance, emphasis on mathematics is much more in CBSE than as compared to IB, let us say.
yes, sir.
Then if there are questions on maths, CBSE students will score much better.
Indeed, sir. A balance needs to be struck between the approach taken by question framing authorities in order to take care of the curricula which different students have learnt in different boards.
Now your college is following their own system. What do you think of that?
I think that following a system of 85:15 based on the interview weightage is fair when it is applied to minority students. However, when it comes to non-minority students, my view is that it should be purely on the basis of CUET, otherwise it creates unfair barriers for other students.
Okay, but your college is not agreeing to that.
Yes, sir. College is not adhering to that.
Now your optional subject is mathematics.
Yes, sir.
I give you a problem
Yes,
and
sir.
let us see how you apply your knowledge of maths to a common problem in government.
Okay, sir.
I have retired and I have become eligible for pension.
Okay.
I decide to commute 15,000 rupees per month
Okay.
of my pension. For commutation formula is used for 15 years actually.
Okay.
So 15,000 per month which I would have got
Okay.
for next 15 years, I want it right now.
Okay.
How will you go about calculating my commutation amount?
Commutation amount. 15 years. Is it going to be with interest which is going to accrue over the years or without interest?
That is for you to calculate.
If interest is involved in the commutation process, then the formula for compound interest would be involved and annuities will be calculated to get the net present value of the amount which would have accrued over the 15
All
years.
right. Correct.
Thank you, sir.
Now, let me ask you one more question about your own state, Madhya Pradesh.
Yes, sir.
What is the Bhavantar Yojana?
Bhavantar Bhugtan Yojana is a scheme of the Madhya Pradesh government which involves payment of the balance amount to the farmers who have not been able to sell their produce at the minimum selling price. So that makes up for the reduction in the selling price for the farmers.
Okay. So what are your views? Should MSP continue and should it be made legal? Should legal guarantee for MSP be given?
I think legal guarantee is not the right step at the present moment. The need is to have reforms in the agricultural sector which would not require the farmers to depend on MSPs but enhance their incomes from not only agricultural crop produce but also allied sectors. So legal guarantees may create burden on the
But the
exchequer.
two are not mutually exclusive. You give legal guarantee for MSP and also enhance income from other sectors. What prevents you? It's not that if you give MSP, other option is ruled out.
Indeed, sir. I think MSP may create extra burden on the government under a legal banner, which may be detrimental to the fiscal position of the government. So, legal guarantee at the present moment is not feasible, in my view.
Okay, my last question to you.
Yes, sir.
What is the wheat procurement situation in the country?
The wheat procurement at the present moment is lesser compared to past years and compared to the date by which a certain amount is procured. That is mainly due to lesser production this year and also because of higher rates given by private traders for exports, due to which farmers are not willing to
But
sell.
we are going to export a lot of wheat this year. Should
Yes.
we export or are we going to run short domestically also?
According to the information given by the government, we have adequate stocks to feed people for the National Food Security Act and also balance the prices in the market. So we can export whatever surplus amount we have. And
Any facts and figures
in what respect, sir?
in respect of the statements you have made about wheat?
Wheat is going to be exported to the tune of about 10 to 12 billion tons, 10 to 12 million tons. And the MSP, which is about 2015 rupees, is what some farmers are preferring, but most of the farmers are going for rates which are about 2,300 to 2,400 in the market.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, Mr. Jaiswal. Our discussion with you is over. Kindly wait outside for a few minutes. We'll call you for a feedback.
Okay, sir.